Welcome back to another episode of Life with Your Dog. And today we are out in nature. It's me and Spades and Nookie. So if there's a little bit of wind in the microphone, apologies for that, and hopefully it's able to be listened to without being too annoying. But today we're going to be talking about what dogs have taught me in the year of 2020. It's New Year's Eve as I record this, so it's going to be coming out in the next couple of days. So Happy New Year, everybody. And thanks for your continual support and listening to the show, and hope you guys have been enjoying it. You know, this year has been a full solid year of Life with Your Dog. And it's part of my life. Every single week we're getting a recording out, which means having to think about what I get up to and what I teach other people and putting it into a different format and delivering it has been a lesson in itself, and that's been pretty cool. You know, learning to talk to a camera and to a microphone is odd at first. And I think it's always going to be a little bit odd. It's always better to be talking with somebody. Luke's going to come on the show soon. He's had a little break, his own things going on, and you know, prioritizing what you've got to do is really important. So it's better when he comes back on, we can have a legit chat about a lot of other topics, and he's got really exciting things to mention as well. So I'll wait for him to deliver that news. But really, I think the number one thing for me, look, it's been a tough year for everybody. You know, COVID-19 has kind of fucked with everybody's lives one way or another. And, you know, nothing's guaranteed. Everything's changing. You know, it's very much like dog behavior. You know, you may think you know your dog, and an incident occurs, or you're in a new environment and you see something new and different in your dog's attitude and behavior towards something. And that's the same with us. You know, don't think that everything's guaranteed, that, you know, water comes out of a tap and food comes from a store. That alone is a miracle. So we need to have an attitude of gratitude, and I think that's really important. And I have learned a lot of gratitude this year. You know, it's part of my prayers every day when I pray with my son. You know, being grateful for the life that we have, to breathe air and to have life. The only thing you actually have is two things: your body and your life. And one day those both will be gone from the thing the thing that you call I, your ego, the thing that is aware. I'm not going to go too deep on that shit. But transitions, big transitions this year. You know, obviously, the first 6 months of having a child is obviously different, but when he starts becoming aware and moving and talking and understanding the world, that's when things get a little bit more busy, a little bit more hectic, and I don't want to screw it up. I want to do a really good job. You know, number one priority in my life is being a dad, and that means getting to know him. And if you're going to have a puppy, you're going to raise a puppy, you want to know everything about that puppy. You want your puppy to know everything about you, so you have a strong bond. And the thing about a puppy and a human is a puppy's development, critical period of development, and by the time they mature, so in their development of 17 weeks is really important, and that's up to 4 years old in a human. And until they mature, dogs are generally maturing at around about 3 years old, and humans mature, you know, the male brain matures and stops developing new things at around 25 years old. So, you know, maybe I'm thinking too much about it, or maybe I'm just realizing that this is about developing habits. This is not about, I have to do this because it needs to be done. Just like training your dog. You want to think about training as, I'm just learning the things that I need to do, so then I do them more. Rather than thinking, this is the thing I have to do, and we do it, and then it stops, and then it's completed. It doesn't work that way. And that's what this transition has taught me as well, is that, first of all, I need to set my priorities. And Leonardo wasn't even a thing 2 years ago, and now he's on the top of my list of priorities, which means everything else in my life has to change. And I see that a lot in a lot of my clients, where they treat their dog as if, like, because people get clucky, you know, they want a child, and they get these maternal and paternal urges. So we get the dog and we treat them like that, and then we get a real human, and then the dog becomes neglected, and it's no good. And not neglected purposefully or even intentionally to be neglecting. It's just that, far out, priorities have changed. I'm not walking 3 hours a day anymore. You're probably getting 3 walks a week, you know, and that's no good, you know. And it's all about time management. So I want to continue doing the show, and I couldn't do it at home today. We're setting up the house, and my son's running around, and grandma's doing a thing and whatever, and it's just too much noise. So I thought, wait, I'll walk my dogs and I'm going to record an episode today. Hopefully the wind hasn't affected this, because that'd be a real shame. But but I think time management has been really important. And of course, COVID affected me, not in a way that I lost work. COVID affected me that I got a lot more work, and people have been saying how amazing and wonderful it is, and it is, and I'm fully grateful for it. But you need to then delegate your time to deal with that sort of workload. We know I've got Fiona on now doing my admin and helping me out with scheduling people in, and and we have other plans going forward from here, because I had no infrastructure to deal with that many inquiries. 20 a day is like crazy. I can only see four dogs a day in the model that I work and help people, and I really focus on my one-on-one training, teaching people to train their dogs. That's the most important thing. So it's really important here that I have to learn to restructure, and I have to learn to adapt, and also not crumble, and use this as a challenge for growth. Don't have this challenge defeat you. And I think that's important. And and I haven't talked much about that puppy experience, getting the puppy and having to return it and everything else. Obviously it still scars me, and having time to think about it, really, that was a reflection of where I am personally in my life. And you can't just keep adding more and more and more. I could, and then I won't be the version of me that I like and that people like. And that is I'm trying to be as balanced as possible, where if you're working so much with a new workload and not realizing what fatherhood is and being a parent is, which is a lot more time consuming, the things that need to be sacrificed. And I didn't realize that, and I should have realized that. So the point is that that's the lesson learned, and you think you know who you are until you're faced with great difficulty, and lack of sleep is intense. Like, sleep is getting better now, much better, but waking up every 3 hours is ridiculous. And doing that for 12, 15 months is can ruin your life, sort of thing. So I feel for people that can't sleep, because that's really it's a real bummer. But I want to do things properly, and I don't want to half-ass anything. So one thing that puppy Jet taught me was that, and thinking about him looking at me, brings on you got to honor who you are. And I don't regret the decision that I made. Actually, in fact, I think about it that it was a good decision that I made, because I know myself, and I've done some work on myself to know where my thresholds are. And obviously I'm going to continue to learn that. But I really did want a dog for work, and I wasn't ready for my own personal dog. I've already got my dogs to work on at the moment, and there's always something to be developing and to appreciate. But I'm all about what dogs have taught me. This year really realized, and I had a brain snap and it's been developing, I've been thinking about it, but I originally started doing what I do, train dogs and train people to train their dogs, because I'm passionate about dogs and how they influence our lives, and they enrich our lives, make it better. We don't want to accumulate dogs because you think you need to have dogs. You have the dog because you want to enjoy it. And one thing that I listened to, Alan Watts, if you don't listen to Alan Watts, check him out. He'll blow your mind. But just listened to a recording of him yesterday, saying how people initially go to university, for example, to learn, so they can learn the art and the craft and the content of what it is that they're learning. Where there's been a paradigm shift in how we see school, that we go to university to get the degree so you can get the job. It's more about having a one-up, and thinking about that in the profession that I do, is that